Greetings. October 2021. I want to do an update for my viewers to explain why there's a delay in getting content uploaded. It's mainly because I've been doing a lot of writing. With the series Protect the Mind, it is looking at ways in which lucrative, exploitive, predatory, toxic people, vampires, there's many names and ways of describing them, abusers, and how they abuse their victims and select their targets to extract resources and fuel from them. How they are having to adapt to the changes in society in order to continue their lifestyle. This is like the chameleon at work, to fly under the radar and blend in without being caught. And some of these people do it subconsciously, meaning they don't recognize themselves as being abusive. In the process of writing about how they are adapting, I realized I needed to backtrack and lead up to it to create context. Jumping straight in for newcomers with the expectation they will be able to take on board what is being said is asking for too much. So I had to put a bit of a halt to that part of the writing and direct it towards ways in which we are vulnerable, naive, gullible, open or exposed to such predators, which then led me to write about blind spots. Because the predators have many tactics, one of which is to be covert, use smoke and mirrors, distractions, deflections. They are then able to infiltrate or penetrate our defenses. They love people having blind spots because they won't see it coming until it's too late, if at all. And then from vulnerable people, I realized I need to describe or categorize what kind of people become vulnerable and in what ways. So we can kind of see now how I'm having to backtrack and branch out. For new viewers, it might all seem a bit perplexing or extreme or hard to relate to. Likely disbelief, as many people who become aware do not want to accept what they are discovering. And I'm sure a common experience on both sides would be for someone who has experienced a lot of trauma, injured in some way, carrying a lot of hurt, and feel alone. They try to reach out to wider society to be understood. And that disconnect between them puts off wider society, which makes their problem even worse, because now they're being looked at as erratic and they become more ostracized. They're trying to understand, or they're struggling to try to understand themselves. So typically it takes someone who's been through recovery to help guide them with understanding. So if someone is trying to reach out for a bit of understanding, I know it might be intimidating, but try to have a bit of compassion. Because these are your brothers and sisters, and these injured people were or are members of society as well. And it doesn't take much for a member of wider society, someone who we would consider as healthy, to become injured and find themselves struggling just like someone who is struggling right now. And despite believing you might be safe and stable as part of this wider society, this actually in some ways makes you more vulnerable than people who are already injured. Why? Because it is a false sense of security, and you don't want to believe it could happen to you. But this makes you a candidate for exploitative people to target. Injured people are still candidates, but the uninjured are a good source of fuel. You haven't been tapped into yet. You are still functionable in wider society, which means you can serve their needs better. I mean, a healthy person who uses critical thinking can be off-putting, because it will be harder to obtain fuel and the predators run the risk of exposure. It just shows that members of wider society can be divided into healthy/unhealthy groups, and it might not be apparent to that person which category they fit into. Rambling aside, that's why it's taken me long to upload anything. I hope it explains why I'm wanting to backtrack before going into how abusive people are now adapting. If wider society can become more aware and have better understanding of their own behaviors and thought processes, it will go towards making it more difficult for predators to target people. it makes whatever adaptations they make kind of mute. So it kind of circles back round, and hopefully we can see the ways in which abusers are trying to manipulate society in their favour, to normalize their behaviours, to persuade moral standing people to become abusive without them realizing. People are then fooled into thinking they are doing good when really they are adding to the harm, which makes them no better than the predators. It might sound scary, but it doesn't have to be. Actually, the predators are the ones who are scared. They're cowardly. They choose to run from their problems. It's largely a performance, a spectacle. They can't really do much without you enabling them. The irony is, not sure if that's the right word here, but once you get through all this head-spinning mental gymnastics in trying to understand, really it boils down to a few simple things. But trying to understand those few things without doing the homework won't really give it meaning or highlight the significance of importance. Be honest, have gratitude, grace, grieve, let go. Responsibility and accountability are built into those words. The reason why predators are so successful is because as a society we let it happen. We don't say no to bad behaviour, instead we reward it. So if wider society proclaim to want good for people, by their own virtue they should pay closer attention to the fine print. It's about self-care, keeping safe, life skills. And it has further benefits. Learning about who we are, our emotions, our flaws, will hopefully make interactions and our relationships better. It has an array of knock-on effects. The whole predator side is actually just a byproduct component of all of this. It's the failure in our parenting that results in predators taking advantage. They are skilled at honing in on weakness, be it things we neglect. As some become more aware, the ones who aren't become more at risk. Predators do not want people to become aware or do any healing. As you can imagine, predators are not good parents, and through their children repeat the cycle of abuse. The kids at the end of the day pay the ultimate price for our ignorance. Trying to change the world is fine and dandy, but where has the sense of self been lost? You will not find it behind any banner or rainbow. No rhetoric or policy. No virtue or crusade. The answers are not in our demands of control, lack thereof, or need for attention. Predators know these performances compromise your integrity. Appreciation for the people who have been injured. It is not for nothing. There are people who care. And through your experiences we are beginning to understand, and with that, pain can teach future generations to take better care of themselves. Thank you.